Hey, we're Group 190. I'm David Murphy.
I'm Brian Wynn, and this is our Sprint 3 showcase.
Yeah. So I'll start us off by just talking about the hardware. So first things first, we've got our 12.6 volts battery, which is enough to power both the Arduino and the motor driver. And then on the motor driver, we've got these two outputs, and these go to our worm motor, which is inside of our reel. And then we got the battery ground, which is shared with the ground of the Arduino. And then we got the battery power going to the 12 volt Arduino power going out from the 5 volt output from here into the Arduino. Then we've got our IR receiver, which is wired into the Arduino, and our limit switch right here with the communication and the normally open wire, which just goes to a pin. And yeah, now I'll pass it over to my teammate Brian.
All right, so in the project we have three subsystems. One is this limit switch, where if it's pressed down, then everything works. If it's up, then nothing works. This is to prevent this for safety reasons. The second subsystem is this IR sensor and IR remote. Basically, just reads the inputs and controls our last subsystem, which is this reel and motor, to dispense or retract at various speeds, depending on what you choose on the remote. And all of this works according to this code over here. As you can see up here, all of our things are wired up, as he said earlier. We have three outputs for the motor and one input, which is the limit switch. Essentially down here, it's reading the IR sensor, and if the limit switch is up, it won't run or anything. But if it is down, then we will essentially have a small cooldown just for safety reasons, and a switch case for moving it forward, backward, as well as a switch case for the speed changing in increments of 10. And essentially, if it goes too fast, it will say it can't go faster, or if it's too slow, it can't go slower. This is based off of how slow or fast the reel spins. And that's pretty much the code side of it. Our last part is this box over here, which we plan to integrate into the project.
Yeah. And as of now, we're missing a few modifications with the box, such as an entry and exit hole for the wire, for the tubing. So that's how one end's going to be clamped down by a cable gland, and the other is going to be able to run freely. This is where the length is going to be controlled by the remote. And then some other holes that we're missing are, for example, the IR receiver. We're going to try to make a cutout up here on top where it's going to stick out and be able to receive some signal. And then we're also missing a hole for the recharge port connected to our battery. So this is going to allow the customer to recharge their battery so that the reel system never runs out of power. So we're going to make a little cutout on one of the sides possibly. Same thing goes for the Arduino, power and code input. And then to talk more about how the wiring is going to look, each component, such as the Arduino and the motor driver, is going to be bolted down into this mounting plate with their wires running underneath. And this is basically just going to provide some organization and make sure that nothing gets in the way of the tubing that's leaving and coming back in. And then one final thing that we're missing are pole mounts, which are going to go in the back. And it's basically going to allow our customer to attach this vertically like this to their oxygen tank with the pole mounts. They're going to tighten that, and it's going to hang like this with the tube leaving from here and coming in from the oxygen tank from up here. And now we're going to give a demonstration of our reel moving. So we just
Right, so as you can see, it won't run as long as this is up, no matter what I press. The remote only has 4 buttons, by the way, just to increase speed, decrease speed, and reel or retract. Once you do press it down and it reads, it will start moving back and forth. Right now we have it at a high delay, so it's a bit slower for testing purposes. We can increase the speed to show that it runs a bit faster, or decrease it to the point that it is really slow. We can also move it the other way, as you can see, at high speeds as well.
And last thing with our limit switch is we're going to try to integrate that by kind of making a small cutout right here so that when the lid is closed, this film right here presses onto our limit switch, ensuring that the motor only runs when the lid is closed, so that our customer is not harmed at all, and so that nobody gets their hands in there while it's open. So that way it only runs when the lid is closed. Once again, we're Group 190. Thank you so much.
Thank you.